Let's now go to a special guest here on Live Now from Fox. This is Rep. Monica de la Cruz, representative from the great state of Texas. You're on this committee. We appreciate your time here on Live Now from Fox to help us break down what we are seeing today there and the unfortunate news of those bank failures. But what is some of the big news coming out yesterday and today is this looks like it could have been preventable.
Absolutely. There were certainly red flags leading up to this. And what we want to know is, when did the Fed know? When did Barr know? When did people start to take action? Look, the regulators clearly were overseeing these events and did not act quickly enough, swiftly enough. And so today what we're doing is we're drilling down on those details of who knew what, when, and how did this happen. We should not be having a bank run, and there are regulatory procedures to prevent that.
Yeah, when we hear that bank run there, that term, and then hearing that $40 billion taken in less than 24 hours there after really the scare that was happening. And Representative, let's talk a little bit about how social media really played into a role here on really causing a stir there with people getting worried and talking about it over the weekend there and really causing this panic on the bank run.
Well, we see the power of social media every day, not just in this subject, but in many different areas. And so, absolutely right. Once social media got a hold of this information, we saw what should not have happened. We saw it happen, an actual bank run. Now, what's unique to this situation versus past bank runs is typically when we saw a bank run, people were lined up outside the bank and around the corner. It took hours to do. But in this day and age with technology, what we saw is a virtual bank run. This has not happened before, and obviously is very concerning that it could happen so quickly and so much money in a small period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we look at other banks there, last week we saw that First Republic Bank could have been on the ropes there, but now it seems like regional banks like First Republic and others are stabilizing. What are you hearing in that banking sector of other regional banks across the board there?
Well, in my community, what I am hearing from local bankers, community bankers, and regional bankers is that the market has stabilized. People's fears have calmed down, and so they are not as worried as they were when they first received the news 2 weeks ago. What I can say that my community and regional banks are most concerned about is that Barr is pushing capital, increased capital, and that is very concerning for our regional banks and our community banks. And so right now, that is the hot topic for my community.
And Representative, when we heard yesterday and we continue to hear today at that meeting that Silicon Bank was being poorly run, but it took a catastrophe there of a collapse there and having the FDIC come into receivership to finally end it all there. Why wasn't there a point there when they were poorly managed? Did someone say, hey, things need to change really quick or this is going to end very bad?
You hit it right on the nose. Someone should have said that. Yes, we all can agree that there was mismanagement within that bank. The information is very clear about that. But where were the regulators? Why were they not alarming people way before that Thursday and Friday morning? I mean, it was like a bomb exploded on Sunday. When looking back at the information, we saw that there were red flags in place. However, regulators did not shine the light on that. It's very concerning. And that's why today's testimony by Barr and others is critical for us to get to the bottom of who dropped the ball.
And when we look at the banking sector and with regional banks really in focus for investors, is there any thought on Congress's side to maybe push Treasury and others to take a look at shorting bank stocks and maybe putting a hold on that, especially in the regional sector when it seems like they're under pressure right now, and having a short attack on some of these banks almost seems like it's un-American at times?
Well, we're very concerned about our regional and our community banks. Community and regional banks are the backbones of communities just like mine, 90% Hispanic, where we depend on these community banks in our area and for small businesses. So we want to make sure that any decision that is made with understanding the profound effects that they can have with regional and community banks. And that's why when Barr is talking about increasing capital or increasing the means for capital, we want to make sure that we have a full understanding of how that will affect our regional community banks.
And lastly, Congresswoman, what do you think this message sends to banking consumers and really all Americans there when, at times when you need a bank there for a loan, let's say for maybe a car purchase or a home, you see all the hoops that you have to go through to show that you are credible and that you have the finances there. But then when you see some banks like Silicon Bank there, they're have a rating of being poorly managed, and it seems like those really backstops weren't in place there. What kind of message is that showing to clients right now?
Well, look, the regulatory infrastructure was there and it was sound. It was the supervision of that regulatory infrastructure that failed. And so we have to understand that it was the failure of the supervision along with mismanagement within that bank that was actually the failure. We have many community banks and regional banks in Texas and around the nation that are solid. And so we don't want to lay a one fits all theme here. This was a bank, two banks that did have failure, but what we want to look at is not only how they mismanaged their own funds, but where the regulators failed.
All right, Representative De La Cruz, thank you so much for coming on here on Live Now from Fox. We look forward to seeing you there, part of this hearing that is so in focus right now. We saw it on the Senate side. We're seeing it now on the House, and we'll be continuing to showcase this to our viewers. We really appreciate your time here on Live Now from Fox, and come back and join us anytime.
Thank you.